Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. We continue to monitor the potential of a winter weather system that could impact Madison County Friday night through Saturday. Discussion today will focus on the impacts of the system and preparations for these impacts related to roads and public safety. At this point, I want to give the latest forecast guidance, which came out from the National Weather Service probably about 11:30. So for counties in North Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin, they have issued a ice storm warning. For the rest of the counties in northern Alabama, which includes Madison, Limestone, they have been put under a winter weather advisory. So what does that mean? We're still expecting mixed precipitation. Total snow accumulations up to 1 inch, and I think the most important thing is ice accumulations between 0.05 and 0.1 inches. This is going to be from midnight Friday night through 6 p.m. Sunday. The impacts, some roads and especially bridges and overpasses will likely become slick and hazardous. Expect some power outages and tree damage due to ice. Travel could be difficult. Now, the one thing I want to say, these forecasts have a lot of uncertainty in them, so expect changes, and things of that nature. So at this point, I'll go to Chairman McCutcheon.
Okay. All right, and thank you, Jeff, and thank you for EMA and the work they're doing, keeping us abreast of the changing weather. We want to continue to hope for the best, and from where we were just a few days ago, the weather is at least looking a little bit more promising for us. One of the reasons we wanted to get together here from the county side and do this press conference today is because of the situations that we have faced in the past. We work directly with the city of Huntsville and all of our municipalities in the county, but there's also unique situations in Madison County that we have to deal with when we have these weather events like we could be facing coming up. It's important to us that we have good mutual cooperation among all of our government entities, and we have that. We'll be working together. We'll be combining our resources to make over in Commissioner Haraway's district over there. They've always worked well with the Airport Authority and the city of and share those resources to take care of his particular district needs that they've had in the past. Be prepared. Do not wait until last minute to buy things such as your food. Make sure that you've got your shelter. Make sure there's heat available for you. Make sure that you're prepared if the electricity goes off, that you have warm clothing and blankets, or you have someone in the neighborhood or someone who can help you get to a safe place. We will have safe shelters opened in the county as the event. All of our commissioners work very hard to get, and that will be on a as-need basis as we move forward. Also, it's important for neighbors to know the people that live around them, such as your seniors and your people who may be disabled and people who may not have family to be able to help them. We've seen situations in past weather events where we've had people, some of our seniors, and some people who needed some medical attention, and they just didn't have anybody to help them. And so, therefore, they would end up calling 911 or the Sheriff's Department to have somebody or HIMSI to come out and help them. We want to be prepared and try to get on the front end of this so the flow of information is moving forward, and that's one of the reasons we're having this today. When you look at Madison County, we have a very unique area. When you look at the east side over in the Commissioner Hill's district, you've got Kill Mountain over there. We've got some cove areas where a little bit of ice and some of the roads we have are heavily shaded by woods. Tree limbs could fall on the road, block traffic from emergency traffic getting in and out, and these are things that our commissioners will talk maybe a little bit about a little bit later on. You look up in the north area, we got a lot of bridges up there around Commissioner Brandon's district, the Flint River and Winchester Road, and some of those areas up there that can become iced over and impassable as well. Then we move over on the west side, over in Commissioner Vanderver's district, where we've got some highly populated areas in rural areas, such as Bobo and Harvest and Tony, and those areas up there. And sometimes it's very difficult to get right-of-ways opened and free where people can get in and out. So these are type things that we wanted to talk about from a county perspective and give you some information today. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Commissioner Edwards, who's going to speak just a little bit about the Madison County website. Jennifer Gordon works very hard to move that information through our website system, which will be a great resource for the people of Madison County to gather information and to find out what's going on and share just a little bit. And Commissioner Edwards, while you're up here, I'll let you talk just a little about your district and some of the things y'all may be doing as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your time and attention to this serious matter. I am Violet Edwards, representing the 6th District of Madison County. That is northwest Huntsville. Just for those in my district, we have 4 neighborhoods. That's the Northgate, Callington Estates, Mount Lebanon, and the Cedar Crest neighborhoods, letting you know that our crews will be out there. We will start tomorrow putting down that salt on those roads to take care of those roads. Now, a lot of District 6 is also in an industrial area, and some of our streets abut District 1 with Tom Brandon and District 4 with Phil Vanderver, and just letting you know we've always worked very well in the past, that what we weren't equipped to do, we'll happily turn it over to them. They always work well to us as a team, as a whole, to make sure that you are safe. The website, MadisonCountyAL.org, is the best place to go to get all of Madison County's updates. As the chairman said, we have a crew, we have a social media team, and they will be updating that website as well as our Facebook page. So anything coming out of the county, that is the best place to go. Also, right now in the district, in District 6, we have a lot of, we're concerned about our unhoused population. And so all of our shelters are available, as well as the living room on Governor's Drive. That is usually who we partner with to help provide food. Right now, there is a shortage of volunteers. You can go to my Facebook page right now. There's a sign up to just help serve, to help blankets, to just be there. And once we have all of those slots filled, I will pull that down. But just letting you know that we have everyone in mind. We want to take care of everyone. And as we prepare, even with my young kids, in my head I see that it's going to be a beautiful white winter wonderland. But keep in mind that we're not talking snow, we're talking ice. So while you want to jump down the steps and go play, or you want to go build your snowman or whatever, you want to go out and you want to clear off that driveway, just keep in mind that this is ice and there is a fall hazard. And that's all I have here for District 6. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Thank you very much. All right, let's go now to District 1, and Commissioner Brandon will let you talk a little bit about the new market and up in your area.
Yes, Commissioner Brandon, I'm up in the District 1. That's Hazel Green, New Market, Meridianville, Plevna, that area up there. We have, again, many of the things that I'm going to say I'm sure will be repeated as we go along. The understanding of we have brine available to treat the roads if that is necessary. Depending on what happens, whether it is snow or whether it's ice, that kind of handled in 2 different ways. If the brine is necessary, we'll be spraying that. We have salt trucks that are ready to put out salt, especially in areas that we might have for our bridges and our intersections to help with the ice there. And then also we have several pieces of equipment available for removing of it. Now, if roads have to be cleared, one of the things we usually try to concentrate on is, as roads are needing to be cleared, that we concentrate on the main feeder roads that come in towards town. So especially when you get back up in District 1 and some of these other areas, the further you go back up in towards the mountainous areas and back up in the hollows up there, there are some roads that are difficult to get to because, as alluded earlier, that is in shaded areas. But what we'll do first is we'll take and clear the main feeder roads first, and as those roads are cleared, then we just gradually work our way back into some of the smaller roads. But we do have brine available, we do have salting equipment available, and then we also have equipment available as far as being able to remove snow from off of the road. Those things also, our men are all lined up with equipment to, if there's any kind of down trees or limbs and stuff that have fallen out because of the ice, they're prepared to take care of that.
Thank you, Commissioner Grant. All right, let's go to District 2 now, and Commissioner Haraway.
Thank you, Chairman. He said, I'm Steve Haraway, and I've got District 2, which is the southwest corner of the county, City of Madison, the airport, everything out around the airport, Research Park, and then the town of Triana. Been in contact with Mayor Bartlett from Madison and Kent Smith, Public Works Director. We've got a plan in place. We're going to help them with some of their areas, the elevated areas with brine and things like that. Been on the phone with Mayor Cottle, gone over kind of what they need. Going to make sure that all their stuff, their needs are covered. And then also, we've got a plan to start putting out brine tomorrow if the forecast stays as it is. If it changes, we may make some adjustments, but we're going to go ahead and start putting it out tomorrow in all the areas that we cover. And as Commissioner Brandon said, we're going to hit the main collector roads first. And then if we get time and we're allowed to get back into some of the secondary roads, we'll try to do that too. But our main focus is get the collector roads open where we can get emergency vehicles and those type things through. This last 2 years ago when we had the ice storm, Commissioner Vandiver and myself and Public Works Director Chris McNeese went up to Tennessee and spent some time with the folks up there and learned a lot about dealing with ice. And this looks like we're going to have more ice than anything else. So I think we're better prepared for the ice this time. I've invested in some salt spreaders that I didn't have last go round. The brine situation, we're much better because Commissioner Vandiver invested in a system that we can get brine a lot quicker. We all have tanks now in our districts where we have brine stored and available to get to it much quicker. So I think overall we'll be able to handle this in a better manner than we did last time. My guys are ready. We've got all of our equipment set, and all we got to do is the weather starts and we're ready to go. So hopefully we won't need it, but if we do, we're going to be ready for it. And one thing, if you do have to get out, and I see it so many times because we're out during these storms for 24, 48 hours at a time. If you get out, leave space between you and the car in front of you. So many people just tailgate and ride right on top of a car, and they go to hit their brakes and they can't stop. So just back off a little bit, give yourself some room, and I think it'll be better off. And I think it'll help us, it'll help the emergency crews that have to go out when these wrecks take place. So we'll see what happens, and if it does, we do get some ice or we get snow, we're going to be ready and we're going to react, and our guys will get right after it. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's go to District 3 now, and Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Hill.
Good afternoon. My name is Craig Hill. We serve District 3 in the eastern part of Madison County. The outlier we have in our district is Kill Mountain, and to be able to appropriately take care of that area, recently we did purchase a tank. We have brine at our Brownsboro office. As we put a plan together earlier in the week, we decided to just kind of wait and see and maybe be available if there's a short window where we can treat with brine and it make a difference. We have staged equipment on Kill Mountain, but as consistently throughout the commission, you're going to hear a similar take on the process. We're flexible. We're going to work together. We're going to do the best we can, keeping travel routes open for emergency vehicles. The rest of us, we may need to just hang at home and wait and let Mother Nature do her thing. But our district, we may spend some time over the weekend pre-treating, but right now we're going to wait and let the rain move through and see what weather conditions we have to deal with as they present themselves. Thank you.
All right, and in District 4, Commissioner Vandiver.
Phil Vandiver from northwest part of the county. I guess I could say ditto and go sit back down because it's sort of the same thing. We're all looking at the same weather, trying to make the decisions of what we need to do. We have actually started taking the opportunity to put brine out now in District 4 because we just believe the window that we have now is probably better than the window that's coming down the road. And we believe if we can get the brine out now, we think it can help us out. You know, we're all working the same equipment, trying to work and make sure that we're doing the service that we can do for the citizens out there. This is a teamwork from all 7 of us together. Commissioner Riddick couldn't be with us today, but this group really works very well together. So if there's something somebody else needs, we'll jump up and go help somebody else or do something else. We're working great together on our brine, working on our equipment, and so this team can get the job done. I believe we're here to work and do the right thing. Our employees, I just want to say thank you for what they're going to do, because I know what it's going to take to pull this off. This is going to be some late night hours or early morning hours getting out and working where the road's clear and where we can get out and get the work done. And so I just appreciate each and every one of them. Our sheriff's department, they'll be out for us, helping us out, and we may be pulling you out of the ditch every now and then, Kevin. So, you know, it's a team effort that we've got to work together and pull this off for the citizens of Madison County, and I believe we're ready to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Damon. I want to say thank you to all of our commissioners and the work that they do, because just like his comments, everybody works together as a team. All right, let's turn it over now to Sheriff Turner. And Sheriff, share a little bit about what y'all have planned in preparation.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, Kevin Turner, Sheriff here in Madison County. You know, we talked about, I'm going to echo a little bit of what Commissioner Vandiver said. This is all about teamwork and cooperation. The commissioners that you see behind me, the plans that they put in place to make sure that the roads are going to be safe, and the preparations that they put in place to make sure that the roads are able to get out and let's get from point A to point B. As far as public safety goes and the sheriff's office, our deputies are going to be all hands on deck. We will be out monitoring the roads. We'll also be answering calls as usual. We will be making sure that we get all of our first responder employees to work to make sure that we all are up in full speed and making sure that there's no drop off in public safety. With that being said, the deputies will be relying on a lot of the opinions of the commissioners and the people they have working for them, and letting us know road conditions as far as what they see from their point of view. The deputies will be concurring with them and letting them know, what they see out there. But it's all about teamwork. It's all about making sure that we have safe roads and, getting through this timeline over the weekend. That's our main goal, is getting to the end of it and making sure that everybody comes out of this safe. As far as keeping up with what's going on, you can go to our website, the Sheriff's Office website, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and we're going to be keeping you up live updates on what's going on in the road conditions. So if you do see a barricade, listen to the barricade. Do not go down the barricade, okay? 1, you'll get a ticket. 2, you will, the insurance coverage is probably going to walk away from you if you go past the barricade. So just use your head on that kind of thing, and make sure everybody's safe. And if you have any issues or problems, please reach out to the Sheriff's Office, okay? Thank y'all.
And Sheriff, there'll also be, on the website, there'll be contact numbers there.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Call them.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
That way people want to call in and get back. All right. Next up is going to be our 911 Director, Dylan Wissant, and he's got with him Chief Jones from Tony Volunteer Fire Department and our rescue mission sponsor. I'll let y'all come up and talk to us a little bit about communications. A lot of times we've had in the past in weather events where we'd have people have a transport emergency, and they would maybe call 911, and it would be just something of a transport rather than a real emergency. And so we've got to be careful of how we tie our resources up. And so, Dylan, why don't you share a little bit about public response and contact and our volunteer fire department organization and our rescue squad working together.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, my name is Dylan Wisnant, Director of Emergency Communications for Madison County Fire. Like Chairman mentioned, we have had history of 911 being inundated with calls, sometimes non-emergency events. The big thing we want to stress going into this is to emphasize the use of 911 and making sure that it's being used appropriately for those emergency cases. With this, we've done a great job partnering with the Sheriff's Department HIMSI getting ready for these events. We, up at the 911 center, have prepared our lodging. We have staff dedicated to be there around the clock to help answer 911 calls, get information out to the public. If you do have, any questions that aren't emergency, we do request that you utilize our non-emergency lines and keep those 911 lines open for emergencies so we can help those that are in need. Just please understand also that we are anticipating a significant increase in call volume as we go into this event and beyond, even after the weather's done and the roads are still, untreated. The call volumes are still going to persist. So our dispatchers will be actively triaging both emergency and non-emergency calls to ensure that critical incidents are received and we, triage a priority response. However, just don't, our local fire departments are going to be using their resources to help in those emergency situations. HIMSI is going to be transporting emergency, patients to the hospital. Expect a delay in emergency services as we get into this event. With the unknown, we aren't sure how icy or how long these transits may take. So just understand when you are making these calls in 911 that the response times may be longer than normal, some up to an hour, 2 hours, just depending. Like they mentioned, we have a diverse county. It is difficult to traverse the mountain and sometimes in these coves. So as you're expecting emergency responders, please understand that we do have your calls. They're all being tracked and we're getting to you as soon as possible. But please utilize the non-emergency numbers for those if you need information on warming stations or transport requests. Lastly, I do want to touch on the volunteer fire departments and other public safety responders out here that we, as much as we would like to transport civilians to these warming stations, we do have to prioritize those emergency events first. So if you would like to contact our non-emergency line for any inquiries or questions about warming stations or getting to those, feel free to use our non-emergency line. But for emergencies, we request you use 911 and keep those lines for true emergencies. Thank you.
Good deal. Any response from the chief? You have anything you want to say? David, from the rescue squad? Okay. All right. Now let's turn it over to Mr. Don Webster. He's here with us with HIMSI, and they're a vital part of our response unit. So, Don, come on up.
Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Don Webster, Community Relations Director with HIMSI, Huntsville Hospital Emergency Medical Services. Basically, kind of like what everybody has talked about. It's going to take us, we're going to have ambulances scattered all throughout the city of Huntsville, Madison County, is that we have appropriate coverage to the best we can. We rely very heavily on the volunteer fire departments, 17 volunteer fire departments, the sheriff's department, as well as the commissioners themselves to keep us updated about the roads, the passage, what we're encouraging the public to do is to make sure when you call 911 that it is a true emergency, that it is emergency. Not that, I've been feeling faint for a few days or whatever the case may be. We know that as this system, as the storm system progresses, people are going to get out. They're going to get out on their four-wheelers and side-by-sides and do things that they don't normally do in the regular times unless the roads are slick and everything. So we know we're going to get busy. It's going to take a whole team to come in there and get these people moved and get them to the hospitals. We work very closely with both hospital systems, and we are working with them. We know they're going to be busy. There's a lot of medical illnesses going on right now with the flus and stomach issues, so it's going to be backed up. What we want people to understand, it's going to take time. It's not going to be a quick, as a normal day-to-day operations are with a fairly quick responses. So it is going to take everybody to work together. It's going to be about communications. Our communication center is in the 911 communication center with the sheriff's department and the county fire. So we will all be communicating and working together. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Don. All right, Jeff, you have any other thing you want to make a comment on?
So, before we go to questions, just a couple of things. If this storm does develop, and I think there's still a if with that, we will have flexibility in doing more press briefings from EMA. We're looking at, if we have to start Saturday morning and afternoon, and then just continue those as needed. Again, I just want to stress that this is a very, very uncertain forecast. While it may seem that things are getting better, you still can't skip that preparedness phase. Because if things do turn for the worse and you have not prepared, you're not going to have time to be prepared. So that's the key. This is a good team up here, but we also have a larger team, and that's the public, which can significantly help us out in certain situations. So I just wanted to point that out. On warming centers, and I know Commissioner Edwards mentioned this some. So the list that I have, at least right now in Madison County, is Community Warming Center, the living room will be open, First Stop, Downtown Rescue Mission, and Salvation Army. So it's going to be listed right actually on the website. So I encourage you to go there. There's still a lot of flexibility on how they're going to operate and when they're going to operate because of the uncertainty when the temperatures are going to get here. So on their website is a list of these, the location, and more importantly, a contact information so that you can directly contact that facility and be able to determine exactly what their operating procedures are. So that's all I have, Commissioner.
Okay, all right, thank you, Jeff. Well, let me wrap this up, and just by saying that Ashley Cook in our office will be running our Facebook information output. Jennifer Gordon in our office will be running out the website, and then the sheriff's office has their website that they'll be. It's key that people check this information because we'll be putting out phone numbers, we'll be putting out contact information, and that will help everybody know exactly who to call and how to get the right person to help them with their particular need during this time so that we don't have a lot of confusion, because resources are very, very valuable when you get in situations like this, and we need to make sure we're putting those resources in the right place. So with that, is there any questions from the news meeting?
Yeah, Sheriff Turner mentioned barricades and blockages, and commissioners mentioned some troublesome areas that they know of in their district. Is there anywhere right now where y'all know, like, hey, we're going to have something here, we know where it's going to be?
No, we don't know that. We do have all of our equipment prepared, and we're all going to be communicating as the event comes through, and where the appropriate place needs to be, we'll put a barricade up.
One thing that we did want to emphasize with when you talk about those certain areas, I have seen our weather events come through, and we'll be working, and there may be just maybe one spot in our county where every other road is starting to open up and traffic's flowing, but this particular area, one of them I remember up in Kill Mountain, we had an area up there where people were saying, well, the roads are all clear. No, for those people up there in that mountain, and we had a couple of emergencies up there, it was impassable. So we have to be sensitive to that, and that's what these commissioners and our 911 and our emergency folks will be doing. So we'll be keeping that information out there.
Some of the commissioners had mentioned, I guess, some of the changes that might be made. I mean, because 2 years ago, that big ice storm that came through, I mean, what are some of the things you maybe learned, got out of that trip to Tennessee that maybe you, like some of the, maybe the biggest three things you may like to share about what may change this time around, what might be any different, if anything?
Commissioner Haraway?
Go ahead, Steve. So one of the things we learned when we went up there was we tend to wait on the storm to hit, and then we react to it. Up there, the minute they talk about a storm, they're going. They never stop. They run 24/7, or 24 hours a day, whatever time period the storm takes. But they start salting, they start running snow plows, doing all kind of things to keep ahead of it and never let it get behind. Last time, I think the mistake we made was we let it get on the ground and then started trying to react to it. Temperatures never got above freezing. And when you're trying to get ice off of a road and it's 28 degrees or 25 degrees, it just keeps refreezing and refreezing. So the method that they use is they hit it with salt, they put scrapers on it or plows on it, come back, salt it, hit it with a plow again, and keep getting it off the road and never let it build up. And so that's the approach that I've taken last time during the snow last year we had. That's the approach I'm going to take this year, and we're going to see how it works. They seem to be very successful last time they had a major weather event, and we're going to try to take that same approach and never let it get ahead of us and try to stay ahead of it. And hopefully it'll work out, and it'll be better for our whole situation this time.
Well, how can you balance that with, Commissioner Vandenberg, you were talking about putting brine out now, are you worried it might wash away and you put it out too early? How can that be a balance there?
Yes, I'm worried about it washing away. I've got an advantage. I control the brine maker. So I can put it out and make it and get it back and do it again when we need to do it. Like Commissioner Haraway said, we went to Tennessee, and he didn't want to brag on himself, but he took the initiative last year to buy a salt spreader and put it in his truck. And his experience from last year made me buy salt spreaders. And so we're all just taking baby steps in Alabama to try to figure out what we need to do. And if that works for us, then the other commissioners can do it. We don't need to go out and spend tons of money for stuff that's not working on a big scale. So we're working to figure out what we can do, work together, share the information like Steve shared with me that, hey, this looks pretty good. We ought to do this. We ought to do that. I'm taking it on a little bit bigger scale. I don't have the amount of salt storage that I need right now. So that'll be a project for the next summer coming up. It's hard to be out there working on snow equipment when it's 95 degrees, but that's what it takes to get it done. We had snow plows being put on trucks this summer. That looks funny going up and down the parkway with a snow plow in the middle of the summertime, but that's what it takes to get it done. So we take these steps, we learn what we can do, we share it with the other commissioners, and that's why we work so well together. Is we like to get together, have conversation, know what's working, and share that, and make sure that we're spending the county taxpayers' money right.
And you guys have mentioned both salt and brine. I know they're used for different things. Can you kind of explain, what's used to pre-treat versus, once ice is already on the roads, what are you guys tending towards?
Well, in Madison County, we watch Tennessee. Over the years, we've always watched Tennessee because we're traveling those roads and all. So they've been using salt brine for years as a pre-treatment to the roads. I had a friend call me this week and said, hey, why are they putting out salt brine already on the roads in Tennessee on the interstate? And I said, well, you have to remember that in their book, their handbook for Tennessee snow and ice removal, it says if it's not going to rain over an inch to start putting out the salt brine. So that's the way I've taken the step today. I looked at the book this morning and made sure that I'm within their guidelines to know what's going on. And so you put the salt brine out first. That's the liquid that goes out on the road that its job is to keep the ice and salt from adhering to the pavement, to keep it loose to where cars can come by and knock it off, or we can bring our equipment in and then take the step to scrape it off and get it out of the way. What we use the salt for is to melt ice. So once it gets past us and it gets ahead of us, we have to come back in with the salt, and that's why we're learning from these steps that we're taking now. How's that going to work? The book says put 250 pounds of salt per lane mile as you go. So how do we figure out that? We're working on those. We actually got a truck out this week and played with it to see how much what it took to get 250 pounds of salt out. So, living and learning and experiencing these things in trial and error is what it takes to get us to that point. I wish there was a book that just said, you got to do this, but, one of you asked questions about where are we going to block the roads. Well, each one of us knows in our mind the 5 or 6 places in our community that we're going to have issues with. But we got to wait till that happens. We got to wait till that ice gets on the road. We got to wait till that snow. I know Douglas Road is going to get froze over on top of the hill. So that's one of the roads I always ride first to evaluate the rest of the county by. So it's just steps and things that you've learned in the past, and each one of us have that knowledge. We've all been commissioners now 7 years, 6 years, 7? 6 years. So we've all taken the steps and learned what it takes to do the job that we got to do. And just appreciate everybody working with us.
And I know each, you know, commission district, you guys kind of work together, you kind of have your own resources. Is there like a, you know, specific number of trucks that will be going through with, you know, that brine, or do you guys kind of know how many trucks you have?
I can tell you mine. I don't have as many road miles as Commissioner Brandon, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Vanderbilt, because mine's a lot of it's city, but I do have road miles. I've got one truck that holds 1,300 gallons of brine, and we can cover quite a few roads, quite a few miles every day. I've got 2 trucks that I've added salt spreaders on that I didn't have before. I've got a motor grader that we'll be using, and I'll probably be running it mostly. And then we have a truck with a snow plow on it that we'll be using. And then these guys have a lot more resources than that, and I'll let them tell you.
Because that's a good point, because when you look at our road miles in the county, you look at District 1 and 3 and 4, they're our primary big road miles districts. Of course, their equipment, you know, would be more in those districts.
With the potential for rain before it ices over, I mean, could that change your guys' plans at all? I mean, are there any worries that any brine that you put out preventatively might get washed away with any rain that comes through?
Well, sure, there's always that call that you have to make, but you just have to, like the commissioner said, you have to, you just have to go through it. Go ahead.
Well, I think, in my stance this morning was, I'd rather have some out and get 50% benefit out of it than have none out and get 0% benefit out of it. So we took the step to go ahead and start putting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank y'all.
All right, thank y'all for coming, being here. Y'all are our information flow to the public, so thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, that concludes our meeting.
If y'all would like a copy of